Hey guys, it's Beth, and today I'm back to wrap up my pink Paislee Snow Village Kilopad project, and literally this is what I have left of the pad. And I have done videos like project shares, tutorials on most of the projects that I've did with this pad, so I'm not going to go into detail on a lot of them. The one thing you haven't seen a video on is though my Christmas tags that I made. And like I said, I made them, I mentioned this in my last video when I did the project share on my cards, that I was going to use up the pad cover to make the tags. So the pad cover is the base for all my tags, as well as some of the embellishments, depending on some of the scraps that I had left. So the pad cover had these little strips, these thin strips of patterns that just kind of gave you a preview of the patterns that were in the pad. And there were two sections, and I want to say each section was maybe 4 to 5 inches long. And so I just grouped the strips into two, just to give me like a little bit wider base for a tag. Cut them down out of the pad cover with my trimmer, and then came through with my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. That's the angles, and use the wide angle to give them the tag shape top. And then I just used a standard hole punch to get my hole there for tying the tag on. And I tried to keep a fairly consistent format for all of the tags, so they're not going to, most of them aren't drastically different from each other, just because I was trying to, you know, keep it a quick process. But so like in this case, I have my tag base, and all the tags are stamped with "To From" on the back. So this one, I have this strip, the gold stripe paper that goes, the strip that goes across the tag is actually part of the pad cover as well. And then I had some poinsettia stickers left from my cards that I made, and they're clear stickers from the Paper Studio. And so I just backed them with some cream cardstock and then fussy cut that out, and then layered a Merry Wishes sentiment on there as well. This one I actually had a lot of sentiments left from, like I said, I pre-stamp when I make cards, and so I had a lot of sentiments left from the card portion of the pad. And so I was trying to use those up on the tags as well. So this particular shape, the circle-shaped Merry and Bright, I just backed it on a scalloped circle cardstock. The Happy Holidays sentiment, because it was flowy, I decided to fussy cut around the letters just to give it a little bit interest, because it just takes away from all the angles that are in the tag and then the fishtail banner that was behind it. And then this little guy, since he was so small, I just went ahead and left my Merry Wishes sentiment as my strip that goes across the middle. And these guys were short, and so rather than make a short stubby tag, I just rounded the corners and left them as squares. And then because they were smaller, I just kept it simple and added the poinsettia stickers. And this one I backed on cardstock and fussy cut it out, but just left with the stickers on the front. These guys are pretty much the same thing, just different colored cardstock strip going across the middle. This little strip right here was just a really odd shaped scrap that I had, and I don't know where it even came from, but it was kind of cool. And so I just added this Merry Christmas fishtail strip to the top just to hide, because the top was kind of funky, so just to hide the top of that. And on these, this red chevron came from there was red and cream chevron paper that I made bread wraps out of. And so I cut my strips for the wrap part out of like 2 inches wide, I think, for each strip. And then came along and cut along this chevron line just to give it more of a detailed edge than a straight edge on the bread wrap. And so I had a bunch of these little thin pieces left of chevron, so decided to combine those with some other strips and use those up. This little guy was a random snowflake that I had pulled out from my stash when I was pulling out things that might coordinate with this pad, and hadn't used it on cards, so I decided to combine it with the snowflake and the snowy scene paper but it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it. Some more of those merry and bright circles that I just layered with cardstock. Then this scalloped circle I had punched when I was making cards and like just missed the edge, got too close to the edge of the paper, and so there was like a couple of the scallops that didn't actually cut right. And so I had just left it at the time and realized that I could totally use that. I just put it off to the side of the tag, had it hang off the edge, and then cut off like that part that was cut wrong, and then layered a poinsettia on there. And then this one I had pre-stamped. It actually came with a sentiment piece beneath it. And I had, when I was stamping my sentiments, I had stamped some of these, and this one didn't, the piece didn't come out correctly. And so I held on to it, and then when I was making the tags, I realized I could just fussy cut the tree out, keep the tree, and get rid of the piece part, and then layer it with this Merry Wishes. So kind of lesson here is when you think you've messed up on an embellishment or a stamp, don't throw it away until you're completely done, because you might be able to salvage it and reuse it in some way. I end up having to do that all the time. And then these, again, just the strip going across, and then the Merry Wishes was a little circle sentiment I had left, and so I backed it on some green cardstock. And then this one is a little bit different. I had a wider section. It kind of, there was like an extra strip. It was kind of a weird intersection of the strips here. And so instead of doing my normal tag, I just took a tree punch, and it's, I think it's Marvy, and I got it at a garage sale a while ago, so I can't tell you where it originally came from or even when it came out, if it's still out. But so I just used the punch on the card, on the pad front, to cut my tree shape, and then put it on some 110-pound cardstock scraps that I had, and then just used a gold sequin up here to give the tree topper a little glimmer, and then this Merry Wishes sentiment off the side. And then these are all using up some triangular scrap pieces that I had, and just decided to cut some of them down so that it tapers up a little bit to look like a tree. Found some scraps that would be nice trunks for the bottom, and then they each have a glitter cardstock star at the top that I just punched out of some scrap, and have some in gold, and then these, since it was just the gray and turquoise, I did a silver star instead. So those were a little bit different. Again, a different way to use up some odd shaped scraps that you might have. So I ended up getting 25 Christmas gift tags out of the pad cover and scraps of the paper that I had left. So after I made the tags, these were all the little scraps of paper. There's some cardstock strips in here too, but this was what I had left of the little paper scraps. And so I will go through these too and put them inside all of the greeting cards that I have. So I will still even use up this little pile further yet. I just haven't had time to go through and do that part. But I showed you guys last week all of the greeting cards that I made, so I'm not going to go into detail with these guys, but I did end up making 157 greeting cards out of this pad. About 50 or so, at least 50 were already sent out before Christmas, but I had 157 total that I made, so that was pretty good. And there's like different variety of sentiments in here, mostly Christmas, but some other sentiments as well. And then I had a video on this as well, but these are the decorated notepads that I did. I had 2 of these little 3x3 post-it notepads and sold one already in my fall craft shows. And then I did a video and kind of a tutorial on how these were made, because I have several different styles. Like that's just like one thin little pad. These are, like this top one is a post-it note pad, and then these are like just ruled lined paper pads, little pads. So I had several different varieties based on the notepads that I happen to have on hand, but I originally had 8. Was managed to get 8 of those out of this pad. I did have some almost perfectly square scraps of this turquoise paper, so I just made some corner bookmarks real quick out of those. I got 3 little corner bookmarks. Here are the bread tags, the bread wraps that I had made. And like I said, I cut like a 2-inch strip of the chevron paper and then cut along the chevron just to give it a little bit of a detailed border. And I originally had 6 of these. I originally made 7 of these Happy New Year wine tags, and using the paper from the pad and then some stamps. And I sold a few of those already. And then I have a project share and tutorial on these scrapbooks, and they're just a waterfall. And it was a really good way, quick way to use up a good chunk of paper, just because you use so much on the waterfall pages. And then I was also able to use a couple of the journaling tags down here in the pocket. And I got 2 of these. And then I got 2 12 by 12 scrapbook pages, one for me, my album, and one for my daughter's album. And this is actually Christmas of 2012. That tells you just how far behind I am on my personal scrapbooking. It's one of my other goals this year, is to get a little more caught up on that. So just in total from this pad, I started with 32 full pages of paper. I got 157 cards, the 2 scrapbooks, 8 decorated notepads, 2 12 by 12 scrapbook pages, 7 wine bottle tags, 6 bread wraps, 3 corner bookmarks, and then 25 Christmas tags. So not a bad haul. And I will actually put a picture at the end of the video kind of with everything spread out, just so you can see it all together, because that's always what makes the impact on me, is I can say numbers and I can read the numbers and even calculate the numbers, but for me it's the visual impact of just kind of seeing it all together. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff that I got out of this pad. So I will tag a picture here at the end of the video. And thank you guys for sticking with me through this long pad project. My intention was to have it done before Christmas, but it just, with craft shows almost every weekend, holiday orders, and then the holidays themselves, I kind of got behind. So hopefully you guys did get some usable ideas out of this for your Christmas paper before Christmas. And I know I started another pad project in the fall as well, with the Pine Street square pad. And I think I'm going to save that and maybe do it this summer, like a little Christmas in July series. I had started it just because there was a bunch of stuff that I knew I wanted to make for our fall craft shows, and those items did really well. So I definitely want to make some more for this year's fall shows. So we'll maybe do that in July, and we'll give you a little more time on using up those ideas for all of your Christmas pads that you might have. But that's it. I'm counting this as a 2018 kill, since I did most of it in 2018. And my next video will actually be my next Kilopad project, the first one for 2019, and it is Valentine's Day theme. So I'm excited to be working on Valentine's Day items. But thank you guys for your time today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more ways to use up your stash, your paper, because again, 2019 is the year we're going to start using it up. Our pads, our paper, our embellishments, our whatever we have in our stash. A lot of you have said that you really need to start using it up, so that's what we're going to do together this year. So thanks again for your time, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.